The topic we are going to discuss is interpreter. An interpreter is a program that directly executes the instructions written in a high-level programming language line by line without converting the entire program into machine code beforehand. Unlike a compiler which translates the entire program first and then run it, an interpreter translates and runs the code simultaneously. Here the interpreter program is translated and executed line by line. It directly executes the source program line by line according to the given input, that is translation and execution of each statement are carried out side by side. Separate execution of the program is not required. The line by line execution of the program provides better debugging environment than a compiler. A main drawback of an interpreter is that the execution of time of an interpreted program is generally slower than that of a compiled program because the program needs to be translated every time it is executed. Coming to the first step, writing the source code, the programmer writes the code in a high-level language like Python, JavaScript or Ruby. Here a simple program given by hello.py. Here the statement is printf, print hello world. This is the source code written in a human readable programming language. In the second step, how an interpreter works step by step, execution process using an interpreter. The first one is read the first line of code, next translates and executes immediately, move to the next line, and last one stops execution on error. So the first one reads the first line of the code, the interpreter reads print hello world. Next, it translates print hello world into machine code and executes instantly. If there were more lines of code, the interpreter would read, translate and execute each line one at a time. And last step, if an error occurs at any line, the interpreter stops immediately and displays an error message. Next, step 3. While running the program in an interpreter based language like Python, you can run the program directly from the command line python hello.py. Then you will get the output hello world. Because you are already given the statement print hello world, when you execute the program, you will get a hello world output. Next, comparison of compiler and interpreter. When you execute the compiler, it converts the whole program first, then run it. Whereas interpreter translates and executes line by line. The speed of the compiler faster because everything is pre-compiled, whereas interpreter slower since it translates during execution. In error handling, compiler detects all errors before execution, whereas interpreter stop at first error. The examples of compiler is C, C++, Java, whereas interpreter is Python, JavaScript and Ruby. Here compiler produces an executable file, whereas interpreter no separate file, it runs directly. The advantages of an interpreter: easy to debug, it stops at the exact error line, no need for compilation, the program runs directly, and more flexibility, useful for scripting and testing small code snips. So an interpreter is like a real-time translator that reads, translates and runs code line by line. It is useful for scripting language like Python and JavaScript, making debugging easier but running slower compared to compiled language like C or C++. I hope you all understand what interpreter is. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask questions or leave a comment in the comment box. Thank you.